Hello, welcome to Showboys. My name is Mike, and I
think you did for the wrong person.
I'm joined by my good friends, and wow, I don't even know what to do now. Yeah, we're here, and Chad is very small.
Why?
Nick is very straight-faced right now.
Not what we discussed.
I'll
Chad
get
is
it so
just
close to his face.
zinging around the screen.
You can get it over his face.
There we
You can
go.
do it.
Yeah,
a way.
we're here.
Oh my god, it
Man.
looks like he's just on your freaking bookcase. I'm sorry. He's just hanging out of your
I'm
He's
over
just hanging
here.
out in the little window on my staircase.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yep. Welcome to Showboys.
We're out of control.
It is no longer March, so it's time for us to decompress. So that's what tonight is.
And here we are.
A lot of craziness. But no, we're happy to be back to our regularly scheduled programming. We had a lot of fun with March though, so thank you for everyone who watched and tuned in, made that whole project fun. But yeah, we're back at it. We're gonna do a regular old What's Playing. We haven't talked about games in a really long time, so we're gonna do that tonight. We got Nick here. Nick, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right. I could use a nap, but
Yeah.
you know, it's what it is.
You look a little sleepy.
Yeah, I'm sleepy.
Dad is above my shoulder. Help, he says on paper. How are you tonight, Dad?
I'm good.
I'm
Not sure
good.
if you can hear me from back here.
Yes. He's no longer behind the screen.
I'm
He
behind
is
Mike.
Behind me. Yes. Chad, how are you tonight?
I'm great.
Yeah. And we're joined by our good friend and stream team member, super famous streamer, just
Huge.
getting into nitro racing down there. Watch out, UglyKidJoeCross.
I forgot to change my hat.
You did.
Oh,
I like it. Keep it. You
no.
might as well keep it now. Just roll with it.
All right.
Just roll with the cowboy hat.
Yeah, you probably didn't recognize him because he's wearing a cowboy hat instead of his red bucket hat. But yep, hat nonetheless. How are you doing, man? Doing good?
I'm really good. I'm excited.
We're excited. It's been a while since you've been on.
I know it's been, well, quite some time.
Yes.
Probably the whole year.
And I'm not playing like the same game now.
Which is nice. Yeah.
That is good. That'd be concerning if you were still playing the same game.
Well, I don't know. The game I've been playing a lot of is in like year 5 right now, so it could
that's
stick.
That is true. Yeah, I included Joe's Twitch channel link in our episode description, so make sure you go over to Twitch and
do that.
follow UglyKidJoeCross. You're streaming. Your work schedule changed, so your stream schedule has changed. You're like early in the mornings, weekdays.
My work schedule is jacked right now. They have me on. You're supposed to be on straight midnights, but I had to work today.
That's
But yeah, just a lot of mornings now. If I have energy in the morning, we're usually putting on a show in the morning.
yeah. I enjoy it. I used to love watching Civ stream in the morning. It's great while I'm working, and now you have filled that morning streamer void in my heart. So thank you, sir.
That's all I was trying to do.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Whatever happened to Civ? Did he like just fall off the face of the earth? Is he still around? I feel like we haven't had him on in forever either.
Me and Civ actually just did a co-stream last night.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard it was a lot of fun. Stardew Valley, go check it out.
Yeah, Stardew Valley. It's interesting. It's interesting.
It's interesting.
The game is what you make of it.
Mhm.
I hear a lot about that game, but I haven't really looked into it at all. It's not my kind of game, I don't think. It's like a farming sim or something.
Yeah, I've heard the community is huge on it, but
It seems like it is because a lot of people talk about it.
Awesome. So tonight we're just gonna go around, tell each other what we've been playing lately, and whatever else happens to pop up. We were kind of doing like little news stories when we could, and we didn't really pick anything for this episode. But one thing that Dad was talking about and just came up Tuesday when I went to go see John Wick 4 with my father-in-law and brothers-in-law. The news of the last Ronin Ninja Turtle game that broke. Have you guys heard of this? Read about this? If so, what do you guys think?
I did hear about it. I read the article about it. I know pretty much less than nothing about Ninja Turtles outside of like the second movie from the 90s that I watched a bunch. But it looks cool. It sounds cool. It sounds a lot darker than most of their stuff, which is also cool.
It's
Are they making a game out of it? Or is it a movie? Or a TV
game.
series?
Game.
Well, it's a graphic novel.
It's a graphic novel. Okay.
I think there's like 5 something issues. It's pretty intense. It's good.
It sounds like it. It sounds like
pretty good.
3 out of the 4 of them are dead or something.
Yeah, and you don't know which one it is
Yeah, that's cool.
until like halfway through.
We know it's Donatello. Spoiler alert.
No way.
Spoiler.
Because like he like in the comic, like he's going through whatever, and then they're with him, like talking to him, like they normally do. So they're all in his head. But yeah, it's a really
that's
cool
cool.
idea. A really
Yeah.
cool idea.
Donatello, he makes a time machine, does a time heist, brings them all back, whatever it takes.
Yeah, and then at the end he snaps, and then they all go away again. But yeah, apparently it's going to be a God of War like 2018 new God of War styled game, which I could be wrong, but the only turtle games we have are the kind of like side scrolly arcadey, are those, what are those, hack and slash, like
Eat 'em ups.
Like
eat 'em
side
ups?
scrolling?
That's what I'm
Beat 'em
looking for.
up.
So it'd be cool to get a new game in a different genre, a different style. And the last Ronin, for comic fans and turtle fans, is a beloved little side story of the TMNT universe. So that should be cool. Have any of you guys seen any interesting gaming news pop up in the last couple weeks?
Well, yeah, actually, like 5 minutes before I came down here. And it's very short, but it's PlayStation has filed a patent for a controller that turns hot and cold. And I was
What?
like, what? At first I was like,
I could use the cold one.
is it for your hand, like to keep your hands from getting sweaty? And I was like, wait a second, no, that doesn't make any sense. 'Cause why would they have hot as well?
No, they're going to make a handheld.
What I think it is it's just going to be another like haptic thing for the controller. If you're like standing in lava, your controller's going to get hot. If you're like
That'd be
out in the
crazy.
snow, it's going to get cold.
Gosh, you
And
imagine playing Slime Rancher with that thing?
Yeah.
Just
And I thought really
turns to
like
goo.
yeah. I thought all the PS5 controller stuff was kind of gimmicky when they first announced it, but it really adds quite a bit to most of the games if it's used properly, which it is on most of the first party games. So small little tidbit, but I'm like, sweet.
And then Nick's over here spouting out handheld stuff. What's this?
I saw a rogue article on the internet about how they could be bringing back a handheld. There's some people doing some sleuthing, trying to find some evidence that they are up to that business, which would make sense.
Yeah.
Because it's been, 15, 20 years? When the
No,
PSP came out?
the Vita came
Or the
out
Vita?
after, and it came out maybe like 2011, 12-ish area.
That sounds about right. 10 years.
To be honest with you, it's a little odd that Sony hasn't made a handheld. I think they're so
Yeah.
focused on VR at the
PlayStation
current
6.
moment, and maybe the next iteration of the PlayStation. But like we talked on the podcast about how Nintendo and PlayStation hate each other and why that is, and it's just weird that Sony would allow Nintendo to just completely engulf that entire market for the handheld market. So it is a little odd that they, for whatever reason, just don't want to do anything with it. There was a patent like several years ago that looked very similar to the Switch with like controllers that come off the side of the screen and stuff that Sony had patented, but Yeah, it's all quiet on the Western Front as far as like it's all rumor stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it does seem weird that they're just allowing Nintendo to just engulf the handheld market.
Well, the weird thing now is like that, you know, before the Steam Deck, they would have been able to come in and been like the super like mature looking like powerhouse handheld, but now that kind of already exists with the Steam Deck. So now they kind of really have to compete in that space.
Yeah, well, I think the Vita was that at the time. I think
At the time.
at the time it was definitely way more powerful than anything else that was on the market. It had
Right.
really good launch titles, but Sony just didn't support it whatsoever after launch, like literally at all. I mean, I don't even think they ran an ad for it. So it's like, I don't know if that was just that they got so burnt on the Vita that they just switched over to VR and they're not looking back or what, but
Interesting. Yeah, I wonder like where the Steam Deck is stacking up against the Switch these days.
sales wise,
Yeah. Or just like
you gotta remember that Nintendo has a
Opinion-wise.
pretty massive audience.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I would think, and especially here in like a month, it's going to be all Switch because Tears of the Kingdom is coming out. So I don't know. I'd have to look. I feel like there were maybe supply issues with the Steam Deck that probably hurt its, not supply issues, but just the way they did it probably hurt the sales a little bit because it was odd to even get. Like you had to like pre-order it, and then even then
Can't miss the email or
can't
else
miss the email. Yeah, it was like really weird. It's not like that anymore. I'm pretty sure you can just go and buy one now.
I think there's a lot of people who don't even realize that that's a thing yet, too.
Yeah,
Mm.
also true. And I have a
Like their
buddy.
promotion.
Yeah. Well, yeah. If you're not on Steam, you probably never heard of it. If you're not on gaming sites, you probably never heard of it.
Yeah.
But I have a buddy at work that has one, and he put Windows on it. So now those like Steam Deck verified games are no longer a thing. Like it runs everything. Now it might run everything, but it might not run them very good. I'm sure there are some games it doesn't run it very good, obviously. But I was like, man, I kind of want to do that to mine, but mine is like so perfect for what I need it for. I'm like, I have yet to come across the game that I've wanted to play on it that wasn't verified. So maybe once I cross that bridge and it's not verified. But yeah, he was telling me, he said it was super easy to put it on, and it literally like he's playing Warzone on it, which is not a
Wow.
game. So
Mike, I'm surprised you're not excited about Pokemon Stadium coming to the Switch next week.
Yeah, I can't talk about Nintendo Switch Super Expansion Pass Multiplication Plus pack. Because yeah, I just, man. Oh, you just triggered me so
Sorry,
hard.
it's touchy.
I'm about to microaggress right now. Okay. I hate Nintendo. I have a Switch. I love Pokemon. We'll just get that out of the way.
yeah, those are complicated things to
fact-
have all in the same sentence.
The fact that I can play any Nintendo handheld game I want on my phone,
Right.
but somehow, some way, Nintendo can't seem to figure out how to put their games on their own consoles and let me pay you money for them
Right.
blows my mind.
I don't think
Yeah,
it's a
it's
matter
why.
of can't. They just don't.
Yeah.
I think
But
it
they
might
get-
be.
They like hate emulation.
Yeah.
You want to? I will give you money. I want to pay you to play your games.
Right. Yeah, it's yeah, I don't get it, man. I don't get it because that Switch store could have 3DS, all the 3DS library. It could have
So
Game
many-
Boy
so many
Advance
games.
library. Yeah, so much, dude.
And there's
could
no
have-
reason they couldn't go backwards. You
Right.
know.
Talking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Who
I don't
is
know
that?
where this disembodied
know.
voice is coming from.
But I think it might be a little bit of both. It's probably a little bit that they just don't want to do it. But I think it's a little bit that they can't do it because even Sony was having trouble bringing when they brought their new PlayStation Plus out. All the PS3 games are emulated. They can't figure out how to let you download the game to the console, which I find immensely annoying. So there's probably some issues in the back end as far as running some of these games, but Nintendo doesn't have the biggest, most in-depth games. You know what I mean? Let's
That's
be
the
honest.
thing. Yeah. It's like they're probably just as easy to make a brand new one than it would be to just, perfect a remake. Because if they mess up the remake, then everyone's going to be like, you guys are still idiots. So there's like, we're just going to make new games, but the same game, if that makes sense.
Yeah, the thing that's crazy is like, dude, these are sprite games.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Hard.
Yeah, dude.
Like, I'm not asking for Uncharted 4 on Switch. I'm asking for a Game Boy Color game that came out in the late 90s.
Right.
That I can run on my phone.
What's
I'm
the other
playing
thing?
3DS games on my phone.
Yeah,
It's a phone. It's not a gaming console.
yeah. If they just did emulation, obviously that's like the sucker punch. Like that's just the answer because you can do it on your phone. But it also, it's not like these games are running in like Unreal Engine or like something that's super palatable to like every other system. Whereas like most Sony games and more modern games that everyone else makes besides Nintendo are on more modern engines. I have no idea what a Nintendo engine is. Like,
yeah. I don't think
they just like
Engine.
they just hard code it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
from scratch.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know, man. They're very, and I appreciate that they're very hyper focused on making new games. I think that's what Xbox certainly lacks this generation for sure. Because I was actually toying around with the idea of buying an Xbox, and I'll tell you why. So don't get mad yet. But my oldest started playing Fortnite, so he has like taken over the PlayStation 5. And I'm like, well, at first I was like, well, let's just get another PS5. We'll put it upstairs. We have a game room with a TV up there. And I was like, well, there's really no point to have two PS5s. I might as well get an Xbox. So that way, if the freaking off chance that they ever make a game that is worth playing or that I want to play, I can actually play it. So yeah, I appreciate that Nintendo is moving forward, not so much looking backwards at their games, but I get why Mike is upset about it.
Yeah, it's crazy. But to answer your question, no, I'm not excited, Joe.
Man,
That was a long-winded answer.
If it was like yellow or fire red or something, then yes, I would be doing backflips.
Is Fire Red is totally separate from Red? Or is
Yeah,
it like
Fire Red is a remake of Red.
So it
And
is
I
a
believe
remake
it
of Red,
was.
okay.
Was that I think that was a Game Boy Advance game, and then the remakes of Gold and Silver were DS games, I think.
Yeah.
But
They
anyways,
like
yeah.
remaking those Red games, don't they?
Yeah,
Because
Fire-
isn't
Fire
Let's Go
Red is for Advance.
Advance? Yeah. Isn't Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu is a remake of Red and
of
Blue,
Yellow.
or Yellow,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is Red and Blue with Pikachu, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That remake is a little different because it does remake Yellow with like the BDSP, like Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl, like graphic style,
Yeah.
but it also combines the traditional Pokemon gameplay with Pokemon Go gameplay. Like the way
Right.
you catch and like train your Pokemon is like you do in Pokemon Go. So it's like a little different, a little gimmicky. But as for all the other remakes, like Fire Red, Leaf Green, Heart Gold, Soul Silver, on the way up, they're just remakes, few quality of life improvements, but like graphic,
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah, I played a little bit of Let's Go Pikachu. Is that what it's called? Let's Go
Yeah.
Pikachu? Yeah. And because Red and Blue are the only ones that I played at all, really. Those are the only Pokemon games I've ever played. And I liked it. I think you're right on the gimmick thing. I didn't like, even though if you're playing it undocked, you don't have to fling your controller to throw the Pokeballs, which is nice. But yeah, it just didn't scratch the nostalgia itch that I thought it was going to.
Same.
So
Same, right there with you. All right, well, let's get into it. Let's start talking about what we've been playing lately. And Joe, as our esteemed guest, would you like to start us off and just give us a game you've been playing recently, or maybe
Sure.
recently beat?
Yeah, I'm going to start with one that I actually recently finished because the other ones I'm still playing, so
Perfect.
I'll have a lot more to talk about on those ones. I just finished playing through the game Atomic Heart,
Okay.
which was wonderful. I know nothing about it.
Yeah, I'm very intrigued by this game. It looks really, really good.
It was made by Mundfish, which is weird. That's
Yeah,
the name of
odd.
the company that made it, I guess.
That
I
is
don't know.
weird.
But it was very good. It had a lot of BioShock and Fallout vibes to it.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. Yeah.
It was vulgar. Not as vulgar as some of the games. I feel like this is one of those games that you didn't need. Well, I don't really think you need much vulgarity in any games to be a good game if you got a good story. But the gameplay was really good. The story was weird and good. But I mean, if you're comparing it to like BioShock, that's a weird one too.
Right.
But the story was good. It definitely probably has my musical
Oh, I was just about to say.
of the year. I won't spoil it if you haven't played it yet, but there is one battle that you go into and the music is great, and then it just turns into this remix, and it's the most beautiful thing I've ever heard. And it's like you're knee deep in this battle, and then you're all of a sudden like you hear it. Like if you stop focusing on the battle for a second, then you hear the music, and then you cannot get back into the battle. I have listened to that song is on like all of my playlists now, and I just listened to it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the greatest thing. It's definitely my musical of so far this year. Like I'm a big fan of stories and music. Like if a game has really good music that could just draw you in, and the music so much for the rest of the game it is still good, but for like that one part right there, it just drugged me in and hooked me and had me addicted.
I remember noticing the music at many points during your streams. In particular, the one that I always found the most enjoyable was like the menu music when you're like in the vending machine or whatever that menu is, where you're doing your upgrades. Dude, that song, that was a good one. I would just sit there and be like, please don't close, please don't stop doing this.
Yeah, it's just like it's like catchy elevator music.
It is. It's so good.
But no, the music's pretty mind-blowing. The graphics are good. Story's good. I would definitely recommend it if you enjoy those style of games. Like the guns are all really cool. You can go around and find upgrades. You don't have to. You can just play through the game. But if you want to find better guns, there's different, almost like training facilities or stuff you can go and invade. And there's puzzles in there to go through. So it kind of turns it into, kind of like BioShock puzzles, puzzle-wise, or Portal kind of reminds you of that with some of the puzzles. But it's really enjoyable. It has a lot. It's very multifaceted. It's very streamlined though. Like you can't. It's not like Fallout where you can like choose to be good or bad or anything like that. It's just you're the character.
It's very on the rails.
Yeah, Nick and I talked about how that's like a lost thing in games, like the Paragon system from Mass Effect, where you can be good or bad. Infamous Second Son, I think, was probably the last modern game that I played that did something like that. But really wish that that would come back because it was always cool, and it was always really good for replayability too. Because with some of them, I guess some of them were like you're a bad guy, a good guy, you're still doing the same missions. You got a bar that's red or a bar that's blue. But like Infamous Second Son was pretty good at it. Like you can get a totally different ending, totally different end of the game, and the citizens in the city like treat you differently if you're a bad guy versus good guy. So Really wish they would bring that back, but I don't know.
miss those.
Nobody.
Those Infamous games were so good.
Oh, so good. Dude.
I feel
I
like
love
everything's
those
just so focused toward multiplayer now.
Yeah,
Oh
And,
no,
like-
Chad's about to get triggered.
yeah. I'm really gonna get triggered. I mean,
My-
it's
My plan is to trigger every cast member tonight.
yeah.
I
mean, I
we're only
hear that a
25
lot.
minutes in, so
Yeah, I hear that a lot. Jordan's a big proponent of that, but here, man, every game on my list is a single player game. They're still cranking these things out. If nobody was playing them, they wouldn't be making them. So
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
I think it's easy to look at like Twitch and see everybody playing multiplayer games, but that's
Yeah.
kind of what Twitch is about. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
There's
same
room
people
for
watching
both.
those-
There's room for both.
Same people that watch all those on Twitch are the same people just like losing all the time. They're trying to figure out why they lose all the
Right.
time.
Yeah.
It's just like a vicious circle of I hate this game.
Yeah, but I can't stop.
Don't watch me because you won't learn nothing.
Joe, did you ever play Cyberpunk?
No,
No.
I always wanted to. Just I think when that came out, I was probably wrapped up in the game and just never got around to it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was a total train wreck when it came out. So a lot of people, including myself, never got around to it. But it looks like it's
I think
maybe
it's
in a-
mostly
in a good
fixed
place.
now.
Yeah, it looks
Yeah.
like it's at a good place. And I started downloading it the other day, but it's like just a terrible time of the year to play an old game because there's so many new games coming out like very quickly here. Like we had Resident Evil 4, Tears of the Kingdom, the sequel to Fallen Order is coming out, whatever they're calling that, Jedi Survivor, that comes out next month. It's just a freaking crazy busy first half of the year here.
Yeah, I still want to dive into that. What Wulong?
Wulong, yeah, that was
I
another
wanna
one
try
that I really want to
so
play.
bad. That's on my
Yeah.
list, and I look at it all the time, and I'm like, man, I just want to click play on this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to make this game this year the year that I actually finish games,
Right.
because I think last year I had played like 40 different games and finished like 6 of them.
It's
And
not
I-
not
and I-
very good completion ratio there.
No, certainly not. And it's not like half the games like aren't worth completing. Like the second Plague Tale, the Plague Tale Requiem. That's on my. I started playing through that, and that game's wonderful. And I
Yeah.
really enjoyed the first one.
Yeah, I
But,
never
like-
played the first one. I hear great things about
But
it.
I
though.
just kind of moved on, and I need to get back to it because that's a really good game.
Right on. You guys have brought up 2 games, Atomic Heart, and then shoot, what was the game that-
Cyberpunk.
Yes, Cyberpunk.
Stardew Valley.
Yeah, a lot of games have been brought up, but those 2 in particular, there's a YouTuber that I watch a lot that does some amazing video essays on game narratives and like deep diving into the stories, and then talking about like what was good about it, what wasn't great about it. The channel is called Gingy, I think. And he has a really great video on Cyberpunk and a really great video on Atomic Heart.
Yeah.
And those are 2 games that I probably would never get around to playing. And I watched both of his videos on there, and it's just, man, I love watching his videos. If you have, you'll love it, Chad, because they're long.
Yes. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Like he has a Dead Space trilogy video. It's like 2 hours long, and it's amazing. I loved watching it. After I watched it, I was like, I need to play all these games again.
Yeah, there's a lot of good Dead Space stuff out there. I don't want to spoil anything.
No,
so
you
I haven't
can't.
watched
You
Don't
can't
do
do
it.
it. No,
Don't
no,
do
no. After you beat the remake, and then if you ever play 2, then I would say go watch that, because you don't need to waste your time on 3. It was garbage.
Right.
You
That's
can
what
just listen to him explain what happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wonder if any more games that he's done videos on will pop up tonight.
Yeah. Probably.
Nick, why don't you tell us what have you been playing lately? Anything?
Me? You're gonna
You
pick
play
out
games?
me next?
Yeah.
I don't know. I've been like a weird space, like time wise, for the past like month. I feel like I played a little bit of Sekiro. I'm just gonna chip at that all year, I think, and I'm gonna like finish it right at the end of next year, so I can
Yeah,
say
so
I
you can
beat
hit
it.
your goal.
Yeah.
Right.
But I was surprised at how well I was able to pick it back up. I was afraid I would have forgotten things, but I think I spent enough time like doing some of Chad's, or not. They're not Chad's. Chad doesn't own them, but I watched his video how to play them. But like the farm routes, just like
Yeah.
it gets the muscle memory in there, and plus once I realized it was Spyro for adults,
Yeah.
I really understood that game much more. So yeah, I was
Yep.
able to play through it and get some decent progress, hit some new checkpoints.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my cousin's playing through it right now. He
Okay.
texts me every day, like, dude, like he'll get to a specific boss. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but he gets to he's like, dude, I cannot beat this guy, and then he'll text me like 2 or 3 days later and be like, I beat him. But he he said the other day that he's stuck on a boss and he's just putting in like 45-minute chunks of just dying over and over trying to get through it, and he finally got through it the other day, and I was super excited for him. But yeah, he's at the final boss. I'm glad he played it because I knew he would love it. But
yeah, there's just like you hit a stride and then like somehow you like lose it and then like you hit a real bad rut.
Yeah.
It's like a little sport where like you just have like a bad patch there.
That's it. Yep. There's like some days you just don't have it. Yeah, you just don't have it.
Yeah, and you're doing it. You know, it reminds me of like basketball when it's like I should not be missing the layups, but like why do I keep missing the layups? Like it's just so infuriating. Like I'm dying for the dumbest reasons, all that. But more broadly, I don't know, like I even when I have like a decent amount of time, like say like 2 hours like in the evening to play a game, I'm just stuck playing Kakarot. Because there's just so much room to just continuously power up like in the show and just get, I don't know, like they're still adding, like I'm still working through like the trees. I only have 3 trophies left to get to platinum in the game, and they're like silly ones.
Nice.
So I just need to like maybe I could probably knock those out in like a couple. The one is time bound. You have to it's based around the Dragon Balls, but they respawn every 20 minutes, so like which isn't terrible, but yeah, having tons of fun there and like just like randomly just going around like collecting stuff, but like fighting the mobs along the way. Like it's just fun to go to like turn to Vegito and just like nuke people.
Yeah. I know I say this every single time you bring this game up, but I literally almost bought it again the other day. It was like $14 on sale.
Oh, totally worth it.
And it's got a PS5 upgrade now, which looks really good.
Load times are way better. That was the biggest drag on it, was the load times were like dreadful. Even on I don't know why a PS4 game would load slow on the PS5. Usually it makes a good difference.
Well, I think it probably did make a difference. The original game had, and I think it was even mentioned in the reviews that the load times were really, really bad.
Oh, they're horrible.
Yeah.
PS5 thing fixes it though. It's like 10 seconds, maybe even 10 seconds. Super fast, which makes it much more easy because you do have to load to the different like sections of the map, and there's especially when you're like going through the quests and stuff, because you have to travel about the world quite a bit, and that was a big drag. But now you kind of just like power through everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's also like super casual because you're just like decked out, super sane.
Like
and I'm just
chill,
like tuning, and I'm like tuning them to like my play style and playing with different things. It's a lot of fun, and it's light too, because they give you way too many like tools to make you OP in that game, and I just use all of them and just enjoy being OP all the time. That's just like me. But I am working through the DLC, so I have the first 2 DLCs. There's a third one, and they're coming out with a fourth one. And the fourth one's supposed to be like it sounds like from what I've read, like each DLC substantially gets better. So like the first DLC is like pretty lame. The second one is supposed to be a little better. And then like the third one was really good, and there's some pretty big hype around the fourth one. So I have to pick those up. I got the first 2, so I'm working through those right now.
Are they like story DLCs?
Yeah, basically, Kakarot goes all through like the Dragon Ball Z arcs, and then which is that whole series, and then the first 2 DLCs start to dabble in the transition period between Z and Super, and then it's all Super. But people do theorize that they're going to make a Kakarot 2 for actual Super, but they're not sure, because if they're going to keep making DLCs, they won't have to.
Yeah.
I feel like they should just keep making DLCs and sell them for like $20.
Yeah.
That's not really a big deal to me. Versus like, why just make a whole new game when they're not? They don't need to substantially change anything, I guess. But it could be cool.
Yeah.
King
So it
Zap,
goes-
890s in the chat. He said, "First, welcome, sir. Thanks for joining us." Go ahead, Chad.
So it goes over the entire show,
The
entire series,
so
Dragon Ball Z specifically.
Yeah, so it starts with Dragon Ball Z, and all those main arcs, and then throughout the world, there's like memory things you pick up, which are like they reference Dragon Ball. So like there's it doesn't go through Dragon Ball, but it goes through Dragon Ball Z, and then the DLC is basically way I understand, like they basically go through like the movies before Super starts. So because like there is basically there's the movie is the first 2 DLCs more or less. They changed some stuff, and I think the third DLC is Brawly, which there's a Dragon Ball Super Brawly, but the fourth DBZ is supposed to actually somehow include and focus around Goku's father, which almost makes you feel like they would have to go like back to like the original Saiyan world, that they're all from. So they might be like playing around there with the DLC. So I could see there being a second one where they just start the Super.
Is it like a super
timelines.
abridged version of the story?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, super abridged. It sticks to like really just kind of pile driving you through like the main fights, the main arcs, and all that stuff. Because the story has, it's a good way. It's a good abridged way to understand and get the story of Dragon Ball. But they do leave a lot of stuff out that like playing the game. So this is my what's watching too, because I can't I'm in a huge Dragon Ball kick right now because I am playing the game whenever I can play a game, but then I am also watching Dragon Ball. I'm on episode like 65 out of 300 or whatever.
So is Dragon Ball like the first series or?
Yeah.
Okay.
It came out in the 80s and went like through the 90s.
Okay.
Some stuff really does not age like correctly,
Yeah, I
but
bet.
it's hilarious. But I'm also watching. I started rewatching Super on Hulu because they don't have Super dubbed on Crunchyroll, which is super weird. I don't know.
Yeah, Crunchyroll for a long time. I think it's changing a little bit now, but that was where you went for the subtitled anime. Funimation was where you went for the dubbed anime, but
and they're
Crunchyroll
absorbing Funimation.
What'd you say?
I think they're absorbing Funimation.
They are.
There's some
they
sort
are
of
in the
delay
process.
here.
Yeah, they are in the process of moving everything from Funimation over to Crunchyroll, so you're going to see a lot more dub stuff on there.
Good.
But I don't know how exactly long this is going to take. It's been going on for what seems like a year, and there are still stuff on Funimation that's not on Crunchyroll. So I'm like how far is the loading bar for all of this crap, man? Because
it's like Nintendo. It's like, why can't you just like port your games?
Can't you just
dude, like
move
just
it over there?
Yeah, they're just files in space, and like just move them, copy, paste. So I started rewatching Super, but like hitting like the main episodes, skipping the filler episodes just for the main the main punches. But then I was also like rewatching parts of Z, so like I am just like all over the place.
You're building yourself my like little content bubble that I build, huh?
Yeah. If you ever want to move on to the trading card game, let me know.
Whoa, those look so rad.
Yeah, those are really cool.
I don't have any like physical like DBZ nerdphilia. Maybe that's where I need to go for like the Dragon Ball Z stuff.
Yeah, dude, you'd be all over that.
That's an interesting word you just came up with.
Yeah, it was quite it was a unique way of saying
paraphernalia and
we got it.
Okay. I feel like Mike didn't
explain it.
I heard it a completely different way, I guess.
Yeah, you've been on Kakarot for a while, but it's cool that you're close to that platinum.
Yeah, and that was actually a cool PS5 feature that they added recently. It's it's like what to do next. Like some games now, like they suggest to you what you could do next in the game. So they just show you mostly achievements that you can work on, like your progress. So I was just happened to like be checking out before I got off, and I just had like 4 left, the platinum, and then 3 next to it. I'm like, holy crap! I was like, there it is. Like that's what I need to do next.
Have you ever platinumed a game?
Yeah, I platinumed a few. What was the most recent one I platinumed? Well, Horizon Zero Dawn, I platinumed.
Oh,
when
right.
that came
Yeah,
out.
yeah. Okay, I remember that. Yeah.
I'm pretty close on Assassin's Creed Origins. That's when I feel like I have to platinum. And
yeah.
And I've randomly been seeing like just some videos and stuff, even just memes of like Odyssey, and I feel like I need to get back in Odyssey too because the Cassandra playable character is just awesome.
Yeah, man.
You're
we
playing
talked
as the
about this a
dude.
lot.
Like,
yeah, it's not even really that, dude. It's just when you
Yeah.
if you go from Origins to Odyssey, you'll see how different everything is.
Oh,
The
yeah.
combat in that game sucks. I don't care what anybody says. The combat in Odyssey is terrible.
Yeah, it's really loose.
And it
It's
sucks
kind of a hack
because
and slash.
yeah, and it sucks because Origins is really good. The combat in Origins is really, really good. And I think Valhalla is kind of maybe in between them somewhere. Valhalla was fun too. Just Odyssey has like nothing as far as what is that?
Dad making weird noises.
Dad's got a hot mic tonight.
Yeah.
What?
Are you trying to put his
I don't know how cameras work.
I also love here Reddy asks why is Dad so small, and we've been wondering that for a while, but sometimes that's just the way the world works. You just can't.
So you're just born this way, man.
Yeah, and I gotta say,
never mind.
That might
on that topic, like Nick, you'll know, and anyone that's in StreamYard like with us here will know. If you look down where the camera layouts are on the bottom of the screen, the one that we're on, I thought there was like a speck of dust or something on my monitor. So I was like sitting here like trying to like wipe it off, and I'm like, it's not coming off. So I switched to a new tab and it was gone. I was like, what the heck? And I realized that little speck of dust is Dad's camera, like his ratio to us. It's so funny. I wish you guys could see it. It's so great. Oh my goodness.
Zap didn't even notice him.
There you go. It's a little Easter egg. You got to find Dad. He's been bouncing around the whole episode.
Yes.
So, Chad, what have you been playing these days, sir?
Yeah, so I have a couple. I'm going to start with Hogwarts Legacy, which is the oldest on my list as far as when I played it. Really, so this is kind of like a mixed bag for me a little bit, and I think it's because I really have no emotional ties to Harry Potter whatsoever. Didn't even see any of the movies until I started playing the game. And that's kind of my concern with Kakarot. Like, I like doing that, like finding new things to build my bubble, but it just didn't work for Harry Potter for whatever reason. It worked long enough to get decently far.
The issue I could see with Legacy though versus Kakarot is like Kakarot is purposefully an abridged version of the show, whereas like Legacy is not even like, it's just like Easter eggs of the movies.
Exactly. And to be honest, I don't know that it really made a big difference because I really enjoyed this game. I think they did a really freaking good job with it. I think they did a great job with it. I think the combat in this game is freaking ridiculously good for a game that could have been real boring, like a magic game. It could have been really, really boring. I think they did a freaking phenomenal job with the combat. The world is also really, really cool, immensely detailed world. Hogwarts itself is freaking mind-blowing because have any of you are any of you into Harry Potter whatsoever?
Mildly.
Been in a while.
Mildly. But you know how like in Hogwarts, like the pictures move and talk and the statues move and all that stuff. All that stuff is happening in the game. And it's crazy that it runs, and I will say it runs good. There are moments where it even struggles on PS5. That's why it's like coming to Switch. I'm like, no way, the Switch is gonna run this game, bro.
They
no
turn
way.
all that off for the Switch.
No, yeah.
Don't bring those Game Boy Color games over.
Right, but they're bringing Hogwarts, yeah. Yeah, there's a little odd performance things. Like anytime that you're walking like into Hogwarts, you get like stuck on the door. There's like a loading, like a maybe 5-second loading before the door opens. Just a little annoying stuff like that. But the world is like really detailed, really dense with stuff to do. And everything's super fun, dude. Like it's I was very impressed for a studio that this might be. I don't want to say it's their first game before I look it up. It's definitely not their first game, but it might be their first like big title that they weren't working on with like somebody else. Dude, yeah, they did a great job. Now, would I have been more drawn to it if I was like a super Harry Potter fan? Probably. There's a lot of stuff like there's just a lot of stuff in that universe that I know nothing about whatsoever. So it makes getting engrossed into the game kind of difficult. And I kind of did a Joe move on this one where I didn't finish it. I played like 30 hours of it. Ended up didn't finish the game. And it's one of those games that I'm like, I need to get back to that. But unfortunately, it released dangerously close to another game on my list that we'll talk about later. Mm-hmm. So it kind of got pushed by the wayside a little bit.
Nice. Dad.
Oh,
have you been playing anything?
Yes. How's my mic?
It sounds like you're at an airport, bro.
It does sound like you're in an airplane, actually.
Really?
Yeah. And you're very loud.
Yeah, dude.
Still?
While he fixes that.
There, that was better.
That sounds better.
It's all the way down.
There,
That's
now
better.
you're good.
That's good.
You're good.
You're good now.
Okay. I
You're
apologize.
way too turned up, man.
I apologize for breaking eardrums. Usually I have to turn it like not all the way up, but like really high because it's kind of quiet sometimes. Holy wind tunnel.
So I'm actually I'm watching Dad talk on the screens below in the studio because it's bigger than him on the screen.
Yeah.
Speaking of the moving pictures in Hogwarts, Dad is a moving picture on the picture of Chad's wall on his wall right now. So
Yes.
Yeah, we finally got him up there. Check it out.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
He's like those freaking pictures in Hogwarts that
like
move.
So let's see. I've just recently got a game called Lies Beneath on the Oculus. The Oculus is a VR headset for those of you who do not know what that is.
Whoa.
Or living under a rock. So that's what that is.
I live on a rock.
Okay. So it's made by Drifter Entertainment. It came out in 2020. It is a VR game mixed with a horror comic with puzzles and weird creatures, like a horror survival game. And it's trippy enough being VR because like you get all disoriented. Like there's several times I was playing Resident Evil 4 and I seriously felt like I was gonna fall, like
Yeah.
over the bridges and stuff like that. And that's like, and that game was fun because like you look down and you're Leon and you've got the gun on your side. You've got all the stuff. It's super cool. This game is like that also. You play as a young girl who got in a really bad car accident with her dad. She wakes up, she looks at the car, sees a trail of blood. You hate to see it. And he's gone. He's missing. You've got this lighter that you're, going through caves and stuff. I haven't gotten very far in it, but it's very fun. It is seriously like playing in a comic book. Like they've got the blocks, like
man, that's cool.
The panels.
It's the panel,
Oh,
not the panels, like the dialogue or the monologue, the narration or whatever. The rectangles. Super fun. Yeah, very cool. I've never played a game like that. But yeah, it's It's straight.
Yeah.
That
Go ahead.
reminds me. The newest Dragon Ball Super movie. Man, what's it called? Superhero. There is like these two new characters, and they're literally designed to be like superhero knockoffs, right? But they're like super powered up, just like the rest of the characters.
Yeah.
But they have like they're androids, but they have the ability to like project the kaboom sound effects behind them. And at one point, one of like the regular characters like, why can I see the sound effects? And it was just like a really cool spin on that, because at first I thought like, oh yeah, just we see that because they're supposed to be superhero knockoffs, but then it was referenced like by another character. I'm like, that's crazy.
That's cool.
And they were malfunctioning, and the kaboom was like messing up. It was cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So the Oculus thing, I did get a chance to play with the Oculus at work, and it was just like a putt game. But it is crazy how trippy some of that stuff is, dude, because I was like stepping over stuff that I knew wasn't actually there.
Yeah.
I was like, there was like one part where there was like a cliff behind me, and I was like stepping back, and then I got freaked out that I was going to fall off the cliff that's not behind me. It's, I'm standing on the floor. Yeah. So it's really weird how all that stuff, your brain takes all of that stuff.
You need to get on one of those like circular treadmill device things where you're like strapped to it and you can just kind of like run and stuff and not really like have to worry about
Ready Player One
like running into the wall and stuff.
Yeah.
They've got a place up in Cleveland, like a warehouse or something like that, where it's like total VR and like you're walking around with guns, like it's all like mapped out.
Is that the name of it? Total VR? Because that would work.
Probably.
See, now I couldn't do a VR horror game because like
I'm out. Yeah.
I don't know what you guys know
so
yourself.
good.
I get scared so easily.
Scared so easily.
I can't walk around my house without my like wife being scared, like of me just like entering a room. So
yeah,
anything like that, probably.
But I saw the Oculus was coming with Resident Evil 8, I think.
Yeah.
Good lord.
And I'm like, dude, Resident Evil 7 horrified me to my core on the TV. There's no way I'm playing 8 in VR. No way.
Did you see the DLC with the mannequins? Have you seen those videos floating around?
Yeah.
Freaking because like you have to be looking at them, and every time you like look away, they're like,
yeah, no way, dude. I'm out.
That oh man, yeah, I would play it though because it's awesome. But yeah, like
Diesel.
Even with the graphics of this cartoon game or comic game, like it's still terrifying. Like there's some jump scares in there, and it got me a few times, but it's super fun. I definitely recommend it. That's awesome. Oculus for everyone.
Stream it, Joe. Stream it, Joe.
Yes.
No, I'd have to wear a diaper. Break out that catheter.
Yes, the SB catheter, baby.
That's right. Check
if
out
if I can figure out how to stream that, I will do that because it's
the game, not the catheter, right?
So would we be able? I never watched someone stream a VR game. So like, can you see the person and also like move around and then also the game?
Like,
or
well, I haven't done it or figured it out, but the way I'm guessing it would work is like I can stream from my Oculus to my phone. So I'd have to have like another phone to record me, and then I could stream from my phone.
Then you could have it set up like the game playing camera of a traditional game.
Yeah.
Which would be hilarious. Watching someone in VR.
It's really funny watching people like
it is
swinging their arms.
There's a video on Facebook that cracks me up every time I see it of two guys, and in what you're talking about, maybe it's not the one in Cleveland, but it's a setup like that. It's hilarious, dude. I'll see if I can find it and drop it in Discord.
Man, I would almost, if you do that, Jeff, I would almost make like your camera the like main focus, and then the gameplay the small one in the corner.
Definitely. Most definitely, because that would be so much more entertaining than the game.
Yeah.
Especially like Beat Saber.
Yeah.
Oh,
So funny story about Beat Saber. My dad came over and like we were trying to get him to play, and he's like, no. We finally got him to play, and he was playing Beat Saber. It was the funniest thing I've ever seen. 78-year-old dude playing Beat Saber in VR. It's good. It's good.
Jeff's dad's good dude. I love
He is a
Jeff's
good dude.
dad. That's awesome. So I'll just combine two of my games here. Recently beat Banner Saga 2, which was super fun. It was so fun that I decided to go back, replay Banner Saga 1 to get the other ending, and then replay Banner Saga 2 to get the other ending. So I beat 2, replayed 1, replayed 2 in the span of like 2 weeks or so. But this game, it's on Steam. I think it's on every console at this point. But it's a tactical turn-based RPG. Vikings. The story is super cool. I played the first one like a year ago, and I talked about it, and I always joked it's just like Viking road trip sim.
Yeah,
So like
that's a
you
good way
take
to
like
describe it. Yeah,
turn-based tactics game and then like combine it with Oregon Trail.
yeah.
That's Banner Saga, which going into the game, I was not expecting that when I played the first one the first time. But going into 2, knowing what I was going to be getting and how the gameplay actually worked and stuff, I really, really enjoyed the second one. So much so that I was like, all right, I got to go. I want to replay the first one just because it's been like a year since I've played it. So all the story beats that 2 was mentioning, I was like a little fuzzy on. And plus I wanted to see how the game would change with the different ending on the first game. But yeah, the story of these 2 games, it's a trilogy. I haven't played the third one yet, but it's super interesting. Basically, you have Vikings, then you have these like giant creatures called Varl, and then the bad guys in this world, they're called the Dredge. They're like stone warrior type things. And there was like a big war back in the day, but the humans and the Varl defeated the Dredge and pushed them back, and then there was like a time of peace, and now all of a sudden the Dredge are coming back, and there's only a few Varl left in the world, and everyone's like, why are the Dredge back? And then craziness ensues, and you're kind of caravanning, trying to get to like a safe spot in the world, and along the way you have to make a lot of difficult choices in taking on new members of the caravan, like fighting certain battles. There's like resource management. If you run out of supplies, then people in your caravan will starve and die. And the combat's fun. It's a little clunky at times. Like my big complaint, honestly, in the combat is in a lot of turn-based tactic games, you can kind of move your character and then see how that sets you up with your attacks and your abilities and stuff. And if you don't like it, you can go back and then like move somewhere else. But with 1 and 2, once you move your character, that's where you're moving, and you can't take that back. So there were many times where I would like misclick a square, like I'd be off 1 square in whatever direction and be like, crap. And then I'm like, crap, now I can't go back. Now I can't attack because I'm not in range. And I'm like, this is so dumb. Like, why is this a thing? But other than that, the combat's pretty cool. The abilities are unique. The way you level up is unique. The characters are super interesting. The story is very, very interesting. But it kind of goes back to what you were talking about a little bit earlier, Chad, about the Paragon system and kind of like the Mass Effect choices.
Right.
Oh my gosh, Dad is on something else tonight. Where
That wasn't me.
I think it kind of gives you the illusion that you have more choices than you really have, if that makes sense. Like a scenario will pop up and you'll get like anywhere from like 4 to 6 options to choose from how to resolve the scenario, or you'll be in a conversation, you'll get like 3 to 6 conversation options to move the conversation forward. And in my second playthroughs, for one of the characters who's kind of a douche, I decided to play him like a douche instead of like how I normally would play, which is try to do good stuff. And I would like pick dialogue options or like scenario options that would be in line with that person's character, and then it would still do the right thing, but at like a very small penalty, which it does penalize you a little bit, but like I kind of wish that they would have just let you go with the option that they prompted you with instead of being like, no, you actually can't do that. So then why'd you give me the option?
Yeah,
like,
right.
You should have just not even made that a thing. But with that being said, I recommend both these games. I was talking to Dad about them. Full price, they're still $25 each for the, like each game in the trilogy. I don't know if I would pay full price for these, but if you can wish list them on whatever console you play on and find them sub $10, which is what I did for 1 and 2, I think they're really fun just on the story alone. The art style is amazing. Everything looks hand drawn, looks very comic-y, cartoony, and not like a child cartoon way. More, I'm hesitant to say anime style, but like a more like adult animation. Yeah, they've been really fun, and I really want to play a third one, but like I said, I'm not going to pay full price for it. I got to wait for that sale.
Now, have you been playing that on the Switch then, Mike?
Yeah. If I could, I probably would play them on Steam, but I already bought them on the Switch, and because of the choice system, your choices from the first game carries through to the second, through to the third. So even if I got them on sale on Steam on PC or something, I wouldn't switch because I couldn't transfer like my save file or whatever. So keep that in mind if you do get these on multiple platforms.
He's frozen in time.
Okay, it's not just me. Thank goodness.
Yeah, Mike's internet just died.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he's been struggling all episode, it seems.
Yep, poor Mike.
There he is.
Oh,
Hey,
look at that. That's
Hey.
horrifying. That's horrifying.
He's
It's like a
blur.
horror movie. He's a blur.
The blur.
I don't know.
He
I
looked
just
like
found this
Slender
on-
Man there for a second.
I just found this on eBay for like $25. So I might pick it up. The trilogy.
the entire
Ooh.
thing.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it's fun. I enjoyed them. Just be prepared that it's not like most tactical RPGs or turn-based tactics games. It is very much watching your caravan walk across the screen and then being prompted with scenarios and then having combat every now and then. But if you go into it knowing that, I think it won't catch you off guard like it did me the first playthrough. But yeah, let's get back to Joe. You got another game you want to talk about, sir?
Oh, that'd be great. I'll talk about the big game I've been playing. I have gotten hooked once again by the Division 2. If you don't know the Division 2, it's a sequel to, you're not going to believe this, The Division.
Wow.
It's a Tom Clancy game.
What?
What? It takes place, well, the first game takes place in New York City. Takes place on Black Friday. I won't get into the story too much, but there's a guy who places a virus on a $1 bill or on several bills and spreads them through New York on Black Friday. So a big virus with a pretty long incubation period comes along, and before you know it, the whole city's in disarray, disease. You know, now this game did come out quite a long time ago, so And then the Division 2 has been out for going on its 5th year. And they had it on a Steam sale for like $8. So I picked it up. I picked it up for BioCiv, who played through me for a little bit, but he got a little bored by it, but it has me. Now the first story at the end of the first one,
Reddy says, I thought it was a sequel to Multiplication.
oh, that's terrible. But at the end of the first game, the bad guy escapes to Washington, D.C. So the second game takes place in D.C. There's still a very large community for this game. They just started their season 11. And the way the seasons work is every 2 weeks, there is a new person to hunt down for a manhunt that leads to a big boss at the end of each season. And they have different weapons that come out for each season. The builds that you can do in this game are just countless and incredible. The guns are all really good. A lot of versatility. You can make a build. If you want to make a build where you run around with a giant riot shield, you can do that. Or if you want to run around like in the Division 1, I had a melee build where I just walked around and punched people because it was super fun.
Yeah.
And some of the best clips I have from that game are just a group of 4 people who were all just walking up to the boss at the end of the level and all just standing around him and punching him until he fell over. And these were just random people that I played with.
Yeah.
Like I just picked up a random match and I started punching him and then somebody else ran up. Next thing you know, 4 of us are just meleeing this guy and he falls and we all start emote clapping. And it was just wonderful. But I used to when I played the Division 1, I had a large following. I picked up the Division 2 the day it came out and played it a long time. And then I picked it up on PC, and it's like, start over. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. And they're like, well, you can cross-play with, you can cross-save with Stadia. And I was like, that's not a thing.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Of all things to have cross-save with.
Right? But so I've made it all the way through the game and just doing these seasons. And it's one of those games where, like, if I wake up a little early for work and I have to leave for work at 5 and I'm like, I can run downstairs and get a mission done real quick. Now the game does crash a lot, but I realized that it was something in my settings. So I'm going to try it next time I play and hopefully it won't crash. So, but the game is good. It's wonderful. The story's great. I just go through and grind missions. It's kind of like a Destiny feel if Destiny were in real life.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it. Yeah, I got to be honest. I absolutely love The Division. I know the first game wasn't as well received as people thought it was going to be. It took a huge freaking downgrade from the E3 demo to the actual release. It's like not even remotely close to what they showed. But that game, dude, I don't know. Maybe it's because it's such a realistic premise. And New York City abandoned is just horrifying. Especially in the winter, like Christmas time, that is just a horrifying game, dude. And I played both the Division and the Division 2 solo the entire time. But dude, there's just something haunting about New York City that I just didn't feel in the second game.
Oh yeah,
you know.
Now, yeah, the first game, when you go into the Dark Zone, there's a PvP aspect in the game. It's called the Dark Zone. In order to go there, you have to go in. Whenever you kill enemies and they drop weapons, they're contaminated. So in order to get the weapons to where you can actually equip them equip them, you have to go to evacuations and fire for helicopters and then wait like a minute and a half for a helicopter to come pick up your gear.
Yeah.
Now, while you're doing this, other players can come and they can cut the rope and take all your gear.
Dude, it is easily some of the most tense moments I've ever had in a game is in the Dark Zone. Especially as a solo player, because it's just a horrifying place to be. And that's really the most haunting areas of the game, at least in the first one. It's just horrifying because I think they set it up like that's where the virus hit the strongest, and that's where like the military presence was the strongest. Pretty much the military all backed out, and when they backed out, they left these weapons in these areas. Yeah, and it's cool. It's cool, man, because it's all walled off. It feels very different from the base game outside of the Dark Zone, which is cool. And I stand by that the Division has the best cover-based shooting mechanics of any game that I've ever played, and I've played a lot of cover-based shooting. I will take that system over anything, Mass Effect, anything that people put at the tip top of tactic, like cover shooters.
Oh yeah,
that system
you
is just
definitely
so
pay
good,
if
dude.
you're not in cover. You
Yeah.
pay for it if you try to stand up.
And it makes it feel a lot more tactical, because really all you have to do to swap between covers is look at it and then hold X, and your dude will run
Yeah, and then
between
when you
covers.
run, you take less damage. And
Yeah, it's so cool, dude.
when you're doing
yeah.
cover to covers. But they're actually talking about a third one that's going to be taking place in St. Louis.
I mean, yeah. I to be honest with you, when they released the Division 2's DLC Escape from New York or something, they went back to New York in the Division 2.
Yeah.
That DLC is awesome, dude. I just feel like they should just go back to ground zero, because New York's a massive city. There's plenty of more map that they could talk about as far as that goes. So I don't know. It's just DC didn't have the horror vibes for me. Like,
Yeah.
it had better graphics. It had better, it kept the core gameplay. There's a lot of good stuff in 2. It's just that DC just sucks in my mind. That game,
I mean, it's got the monuments, and that's where a lot of the strongholds are, and some of the best encounters take place. Now, the one thing I did like about the Division 1 was a lot of people made videos of like their characters walking in the game and them walking the same streets in real life, and the map just lines up.
It does, dude.
Like the New York map is New York, and that's amazing.
It does. It's very,
like
very
Times Square and stuff. I mean, it is very accurate.
It's very close, and they do a very good job of capturing the feel of New York City as well. Where I think like Spider-Man doesn't necessarily capture New York, because it's just too freaking clean. It's just a fact. Like, New York City is very dirty city. It's very dirty. So the Division does it really good, even though it's supposed to be like a post-apocalyptic New York City. It looks like actual New York City. You know what I mean? Like, that's what it looks like. So yeah, I don't know, man. I love the Division, and I find myself going back to it pretty frequently, honestly.
Yeah, I'm hooked on it again. And like, I have other games I want to play and other games I've been playing. Then I was like, yeah, but I want to get this. I want to get this gear. I want to build this gear set. And there's just so many different things you can do. There's all kinds of different skills. And with the Warlords expansion, anytime they come out with one of these manhunts, it's kind of Mega Man style. Like, you take out that agent, and you get his, like, there's one that wants to make clones of himself, so you can't really tell which ones you get that, and you can use it and equip it.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's really cool, man.
But yeah, that's what I've been playing a lot. The one reason that I'm like, man, if I get a Steam Deck, I can just play the Division all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I have to see. Is it verified on the Steam Deck? It might be.
I think it is.
Yeah, that's really cool. If the first one's on there, because the first one on PC is at least somewhat closer to the E3 demo that they showed. It's definitely not the E3 demo that they showed, but it's much closer. And I played a lot on the PC before.
Even
my
the
PC
first one still has a huge player base.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, dude, it's a fun game, man,
Because
and it's like
a lot
endlessly.
Of people just like the New York.
Yeah, that's what it is for me, dude. It's 100% the New York, the Christmas time.
Just released today that they're looking to pay playtesters to test stuff coming up for year 5.
Really?
I mean, they're paying them in like a Ubisoft gift card, but I definitely signed up for it because I get to try something new in the Division and get credits for it. I'm fine with that.
I'm curious about the third, because the studio that worked on that has moved on to a Star Wars game, so it must not be the same studio making it. And for whatever reason, I'm sure.
It's still Massive, I believe.
Yes, Massive. Massive has moved on to an open world Star Wars game, so it's a little shocking that the Division 3 is even being talked about. And if it is, I would imagine it's not being made by them. But they were talking. Wasn't there like a free-to-play game that was coming too, like the Division Heartline? But I think it got canceled. Heartland, that's it. Yeah.
I don't know if it got canceled or not, but I know it's been delayed, and that's probably because of I would say that's probably because of the Star Wars game.
Oh, you know what? I'm thinking there was a free-to-play Tom Clancy Ghost Recon game that was coming that they canceled. That might be what I was thinking of. But yeah, I'm interested in the third one because I honestly thought the series was dead, which is sad because I think they kind of hit their stride gameplay-wise in The Division 2, but not so much on the world side of things.
Yeah. And like the missions you're going, like I say St. Louis because the missions you're going through in this season right now, they're referencing like a lot of the, like through the game, you can go and find cell phones and play messages off of them. And a lot of them are talking about St. Louis. So I just think that's where they're going with it, which is weird because I don't know. To me, like New York, knock it out of the park. They have all the monuments and stuff. I don't know anything about St. Louis.
No, I don't either. Yeah, and
well,
that's
I mean, like that's why I
yeah.
like Fallout, which was 76, like being in West Virginia.
Yeah,
Like I know what West Virginia looks like,
right.
and like that game was very immersive to me.
Yeah, for sure.
And so like the New York one is very like I don't know where I would take the game personally, but I think it'd be really cool even to take it to another country.
Yeah, I mean, it's maybe a cop-out answer, but like I said earlier, they should just stay in New York. New York's huge, and that's only a small portion in the first game that you're seeing. They could go to Brooklyn. They could go to Queens. There's so much they could do in New York City. St. Louis seems like an odd way to go. As I thought DC I thought was a weird choice as well. I get that they want to be, I don't know if they're trying to be like a Grand Theft Auto game and do a different city in every game, but there's one portion of the map that they nailed, and that's the first game.
Yeah.
So, and even the New York rendition in 2 is really, really good as well.
And
So,
it definitely does have that much darker, like the New York, even in this game, it's just dark and it's terrifying.
It is, yeah.
Like,
it really is.
If you play on like the hardest game mode, like the enemies don't show up on your map. So they're just all of a sudden in your face, and it's terrifying.
Yeah, it was just it's just cool to go through like the apartments in New York City, and they did a really good job.
There's so much hidden stuff.
So much hidden stuff, dude, and so many stories told that aren't really being told. Like you walk in and you see like a family's apartment, and you see like the bedrooms blocked off with a biohazard thing. There's just so much cool stuff that they built in that world. And the Division, the 2 has a lot of that stuff. I don't know. Maybe it was just like the summertime is just not as scary as dark winter time is. Maybe that's what it is.
But yeah, that's what I've been playing. I'm hooked on it. Somebody help me, please.
The needle's back in.
It's definitely in, and it's in deep because like. I find myself, if I have like an extra half hour, I'm like, well, I can come down here and maybe finish a small mission. and then I'm like late for stuff.
Yeah.
Get you. That's how they get you. Nick, have you been playing anything else besides Kakarot and Sekiro?
Nope, I didn't know we were doing one at a time, so those are both of them for me.
All right. Chadwick?
So my next game is another samurai game. Surprise, surprise, right? Not Ghost of Tsushima. It's not Sekiro, which is very exciting because those are usually the ones we talk about a lot here. So if you remember, I told the story a while back about making the Japanese account to get a specific game that released in Japan and did not release in America. They have now localized that game, remade it, and released it. And this is the game that I was talking about that came out dangerously close to Hogwarts Legacy. Like there was no hope for Hogwarts Legacy on my PlayStation, knowing that this game was coming out because I had been wanting to play it for years. And it's Like a Dragon Ishin is the name of it. The original one released in 2014, only in Japan. Dude, it is so good, man. If you don't know, so it's a Yakuza game. And if you don't know what the Yakuza games are, they're basically like little small town crime simulators. It's not like a big, massive Grand Theft Auto style open world. It's a small section of the town that you're a criminal in. And this one is actually a spin-off where it takes place in feudal Japan. And it's cool because it has a lot of the same characters from the Yakuza games repurposed as actual historical characters, which is really cool. So like the models look the same, but they're a totally different character. And if you go back and go to our blog, I wrote an article about what we want from what I want from Ghost of Tsushima, a sequel to Ghost of Tsushima. This game pretty much nails everything that's on that list. Like mainland Japan, different weapons to mess with. I didn't put the timing in there because I didn't think, but this is like late Edo period, so mid 1800s, kind of when the samurai were on their way out. So there's guns and stuff you can play with too. And it's just a cool freaking world, dude. There's like restaurants to go to. It's literally a little town simulator in feudal Japan, which is like everything that I felt Tsushima was missing. No like real role playing stuff there. There's no like inns to go to or any of that stuff. And there is a colossal amount of content in this game. I put 60 hours into this game. Before I came down here, I looked at my trophy list. I'm at 45% of the trophies. And I was looking through some of them. Some of them I've never even heard of. Like some of the stuff I'm like, I didn't even know that was a thing.
Nice.
But it's cool, man. There's like, I spent a lot of time. There's like where you can play like poker and a bunch of other Japanese games. I spent like a colossal amount of time just gambling, which is really cool. But it's exactly what I was wanting from a samurai game. And there is actually like I don't want to call it a first game to this, but there's another one called Yakuza Kenzin, which follows Musashi, who is a samurai, and it came out in like 2008, so it was before this game came out. I really hope that they remake that one and release it in the West because it looks really, really cool. But if you're like even remotely into samurai stuff, this should be 100% on your list because it is a absolute blast. Now, combat wise, I think the combat is definitely lacking. You're not coming to this game for the combat. If you want good combat, go play Sekiro. This is not really. This is more of the simulation stuff you're coming for. You know what I mean? Where you're just a dude living in feudal Japan and rolling around and gambling and eating at restaurants and beating up bandits. So yeah, if you're even remotely into samurai stuff, check this game out. It's a blast.
It looks really good,
Yeah,
like
it's so
visually.
good. Yeah.
I was gonna ask Nick, is this something that you could see yourself checking out and dabbling with?
Yeah, I think so. I didn't think it was anything at all like that, but that sounds really cool.
Yeah.
Especially the way I don't know, it just has like a very like visually it pops.
It does.
Like it looks really 3D. That's weird to say, but like it just
Yeah.
has a very vibrant world.
Yeah.
Everything's just
So
great.
the Yakuza games, well, more recently the Judgment games, which are the detective spinoff, the graphics on those games are freaking phenomenal. And they were using the Dragon engine in the Judgment games, and maybe Like a Dragon, which is the 7th or 8th Yakuza game, and Yakuza 6 maybe were using this Dragon engine. Like a Dragon Ishin switched over to Unreal Engine. So it took a little bit of a step back graphically, but I think they'll probably work those kinks out. This is the first game they've made in Unreal. So it didn't look as good as it probably could have on the Dragon engine, but significantly better than the original one. It's nice because stuff's in English and I can actually tell what the hell's going on, which is really cool. And it's so funny. Yeah, it's so funny to play that game because I played a lot. I played probably like 10 hours of the Japanese one before I just got stuck and had no clue what to do. So it's funny to like get to that point now in English. And I'm like, oh my God, dude, like it was right in front of my freaking face. I just couldn't read it. So I didn't know that it was there.
Oh, that's amazing. And it's not like you could like Google it really.
Right.
We can't, our keyboards are not, yeah. Speaking of, this is going to sound super boomerish, but I was quite proud of myself. I learned how to type the E with the little accent mark that Pokemon has on my keyboard today.
Oh, wow.
Felt like,
Right. What is it?
like freaking
Alt
Tom Brady
something.
over here. Alt 0233. Yeah.
I didn't just write that down.
Yeah. Yeah, well, there you go. You learn something new every day.
Also, before we move on here, the other cool thing, I think I mentioned this, but this is like a actual historical story that they're telling here with actual real characters from history, which is really cool. They obviously put a spin on the story and change things here and there. It's a Yakuza game after all, but yeah,
Oh, that's
check it out
interesting.
for sure. Yeah,
That's actually really cool.
it's just cool because it's like the point in feudal Japan where like guns were taking over and they were trying to modernize, so you can see the way of the samurai is like dying, but there are still people holding on to it, and it's just a cool freaking story, man. It really is.
That's awesome. Reminds me of that one documentary I watched last year on Prime. It was kind of accurate, but they took some liberties here and there. It's like Abraham Lincoln vampire hunter or something.
Yeah, not quite that extreme.
Just a couple liberties there.
Yeah, just a few here or there, but pretty much accurate. It's actually a pretty fun movie, so I recommend it if you're like looking for something off the wall and fun. Dad, do you have any other games on your list?
I do, but it's probably the same one that Chad might end with. So I kind of want to save that for his review on that.
Okay.
I will say though, like my favorite game of all time.
Wow.
You're not gonna say anything about Hollow Knight?
Wow.
Oh yeah, that game's frustrating.
Hey, dude, it really is,
Right?
man. It really is.
To
Like
quote,
it. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just gonna say to quote Dad from Discord, Hollow Knight, fun, awesome, and frustrating.
Yeah.
And my son Patrick got me into it, and he's been playing the crap out of it. He's beat it several times, gotten the different endings. I guess there's a bunch of different endings for it. Very excited for Silk Song that's about to come out.
Dude, it's literally a Dark Souls game, but a side scroller.
It's so
that
fun.
difficult. It is
And,
fun.
like,
I'll give you that.
And we actually got mods for it so we could play multiplayer.
Oh, that's
Oh,
cool.
nice.
Oh,
It's pretty wild. And he's got to be so frustrated with me because I suck at it so bad. He's got it. He got it for the Switch at first, but then I got it on my computer, and then I got it on my laptop so we could play together. And it's really fun, but it's definitely challenging. But yeah.
Yeah, I think Brady or Roman played. I don't know if they ever beat it, but I played a little bit of it. But yeah, it's very hard.
Yeah.
And I consider myself very good at those kind of old school side-scrolling games. So for me to say it's difficult is saying something.
Yeah,
That's another one of those games that's like Stardew Valley that's been on my wish list for like 2 years, and even though it's only like $15,
Yeah.
I still haven't bought it. Oh
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
It's just easier to not buy it.
Right. Yeah.
yeah, those games
maybe
are super hard.
maybe someday when it's like $5, but who knows?
$5.
Yeah, as if $15 isn't
Yeah.
cheap enough.
Exactly. Gotta get a good deal. So the last game that I've recently beat, maybe it might be on Joe's list, I don't know, but Pokemon This Gym of Mine. It's a game I streamed, and there's a playlist over on Showboys Gaming YouTube channel if you want to check it out. It's a really fun fan game. Was it you, Joe, that said this is going to be the year of like finishing games for you?
Right. Yeah, I definitely need to finish this one.
Okay. This year for me is a year of Pokemon games. I've
Shocker.
created.
What?
What's different there?
What?
It's
It's like Chad saying, this year I'm going to play samurai games.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. But no, it's going to be like my main focus. I made like a huge list of all these fun looking fan games and ROM hacks that I've found, and it's got a ridiculous amount of games on it, and I'm trying to work my way through it. This was one of them, and just really fun take on a Pokemon game. If you're familiar, you're the normal gameplay loop for a Pokemon game. You're a trainer. You go travel through the region, battle gym leaders, collect your badges, take on the Elite Four, and become champion. All while saving the world from some mega catastrophic event caused by legendary Pokemon. In this game, you play as a gym leader of a particular town. You pick at the very beginning of the game, you pick one of the 18 types. You have to make your team of Pokemon solely of that type. There's a little caveat. You can have 2 Pokemon that are not that type, but they have to learn your gym signature
move.
Good finish there, Joe. Poor Mike.
Poor Mike, man. At least he doesn't look like a freaking horror movie this time.
He's like, yeah, he's a good quality Frozen.
Yeah, he just
Bad
looks like an
internet.
old grumpy man sitting in
With
his
his
basement
blanket.
with his
With his
blanket on.
Blanket.
He needs
It is
a
funny.
hat for that head.
While he's froze, he posted in the Discord the other day that he found those Pokeballs at Aldi's. And I had just bought those Pokeballs the day before at Aldi's.
Oh yeah, I think we almost bought some of those at was it Freedom maybe the other day?
There he is.
Oh,
There
I'm
he is.
back.
Oh, the blanket's missing.
I know.
Yeah.
The internet lagged my warmth away too.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Where did I
Signature move.
Signature move. Okay, so you're a gym leader in this new town, and trainers come to you and challenge you, and every time you defend your gym, your reputation grows. It has like a town building aspect to it. You earn money and you can add buildings to your town that generate like a daily revenue for you. And all this is going on while there is actually like a story taking place with the mayor and this rough rider biker gang. But it was super interesting to be a gym leader, first off. But I love the fact, if you're a longtime Pokemon player, the mainline games may tend to get a little dull or boring for you because they repeat the same formula over and over again. So a lot of longtime Pokemon players turn to these fan games and ROM hacks for something vastly different narratively or gameplay loop wise, and or do challenge runs like Nuzlocke and all that stuff. But what this game does, it dramatically changes the gameplay loop, and the fact that you have to pick a single type to be like your gym's type, and then you're forced to use only Pokemon of that type. It makes you use Pokemon that you would have never thought to use before, which gives you an appreciation for those Pokemon, and it just makes it a lot of fun. Because I don't know, Joe, maybe you fall into the same category as me, but a lot of times I find myself using the same Pokemon across generations, because you find ones that are cool, and of course they tend to all be in the same games, right? You're like, okay, I got to get a Bulbasaur. Of course, I got to have my Venusaur on my team. I got to have my, Gyarados, Charizard, whatever. Pick your favorite 6 Pokemon. But this game turns that on its head and forces you to use all these different Pokemon. And along with that, it's a very limited Pokédex. Like there are not all Pokemon are not available in this game, so you have very few to choose from for each type. I enjoyed it a lot.
Like I chose a fighting type because I'm, Hitmonchan, Hitmonlee. So I picked my starter as Tyrogue, and I'm like, all right, here we go. And then the stupid thing evolved into a Hitmontop, so it's sitting in the box now.
The lamest Hitmon.
Dinkelberg is sitting in the box, and like I'm using Shroomish, and it evolved into Breloom, and like now every time I see Shroomish, I'm like, that's my dude. Like and I used to think like if I lived in the Pokemon world, that's like if I seen that thing in the woods, I'd just probably kick it.
Yeah, Shroomish is a pretty lame looking Pokemon, but yeah, dude. Is there besides Shroomish, are there any other Pokemon in your current playthrough that you've kind of like fallen in love with?
Well, I've been using Sandslash, and that's only because I got the shiny.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And,
what was the name? Shawn Michaels?
HBK.
HBK.
Shawn Michaels wouldn't fit.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's what happens when you let the chat name your Pokemon. They all end up being Pikachu.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, tell me about that. How's that work, Joe?
Let's see. I have Bay. Was that not Pinsir?
Heracross.
The Heracross. I've never used Heracross. I'm afraid I'm gonna have to end up using Timber and Conkeldurr, and I'm not gonna like that. But it does. It just gives you find new Pokemon that you've never used, and you're like, wow, I really enjoy this.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Here we go. I'm trying to look at what my final team was here. It was really cool.
Trying to get Blissey.
Oh yeah, I remember the Happening encounter.
Yeah, so I thought my encounter chance with Happening would go up if I drew a picture, and then they're like, well, you have to paint it. So I painted this nice picture and then ripped it in half in anger, and then like right after I ripped it in half, it's like there's Happening.
Yeah, that's great. I picked bug type for some reason. I have like this strange love for the bug type. But I had Volcarona, which is one of my favorite bug types, and Frostmoth. I had the Fire and Ice combo, which was cool. Of course, you got to have Heracross, but this game kind of made me fall in love with Yanmega, which is a Pokemon I've never used before. And Bisharp is cool. Yeah, fun game. If you're into Pokemon, I definitely recommend this one.
And like with 8, you can choose the 18 different types, so the replayability, is just really good.
Through the roof. Yeah, so that's those are the 3 games I've recently beat. So we'll kick it back over to you, Mr. Joe, for the next game you want to talk about, if you have any left.
Well, I currently don't have any left, but I did make a list of games that I would like to probably start playing in the future. I would like to keep picking up with Stardew Valley, because I really did enjoy it. It's kind of one of those games where you can play and have time to chat with people. Like, it's definitely a good stream game, I think. And then sometimes I think it's not a good stream because it is pretty boring, but like the community, the Stardew community, that's what they want.
Yeah.
Like, they want to come in and chat and just watch you play that game. And I'm not used to that style of game. And then Dragon Quest XI still on my list of games I want to play.
Please do.
And then I think Skull and Bones, which we were all excited about, got pushed back to like 2024 now.
Yeah, dude. I'm pretty sure that game doesn't even exist, to be honest with you.
Well, apparently they pushed it back for like the 6th time, and they're like, well, we're going to release it on next gen stuff. And I was like, yeah, because by the time you bring this out, all the old gen stuff's going to be gone.
Right.
Yes.
They've had to remake it all on next gen, so they've had to delay it multiple times. They're on their 6th delay right now.
Dude,
and like on their website right now, it says it'll be released in early 2023 to 2024.
Yeah, like come on, dude. Whatever.
Like, don't give me a year release window. Just say 2024, so I
not
can
when
move on
it's
with my life.
Yeah, not when it's your 6th delay. Don't give me a year-long gap. Like, that tells me that they're not even close. If they can't narrow it down.
Nope.
They've
encountered some sort of issue with their next-gen operations.
Yeah, I think that, to be honest with you, man, that game looks aggressively bland. Aggressively bland. It doesn't look like it really has a soul. It looks like they took stuff from Assassin's Creed Black Flag, spun it out into a game, and then didn't add a whole lot of stuff around it.
But you're also talking to Valheim players.
Talking about what?
You're also talking to Valheim players.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. That's fair. That's fair. That's definitely fair. And I think that people need to adjust their excitement for that game, because I think it's probably going to be far closer to that than any kind of cinematic experience that people are looking for with a good story or something. Because
and then I'm looking forward to Ghostwire Tokyo, because that seems intriguing. It's interesting. I love the art concept. Like, I've been watching a lot of the reviews and stuff, and it just looks really good. It looks like a game that you can really get lost in.
Yeah, I streamed that game. I never finished it.
Oh, is that the finger gun game?
That is the finger
Yeah.
gun game. Yeah, it is. It's a fun game. The world is really, really cool, especially if you're into Japanese stuff. It's a really good horror take on Tokyo, and the combat's good. It's definitely very anime. If you're into any kind
Yeah,
of anime,
that's why
it's very
I'm
anime.
looking at that. I'm like, oh, that looks fun.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I need to
And
get back to
then,
that.
The last game is Redfall, which is a like a shooter game, kind of
Is that the vampire one?
like a
Yeah.
Dead Island style, is what it looks like, but with vampires. Yeah, and it looks pretty cool. And it's a multiplayer game, so
Yeah.
I'll be grouping up with randos, which will probably ruin my experience. But
Yeah, always does. Yeah.
but like as far as good single players game, like I said, the Star Wars coming out, I'm really excited about that. But man, watching streams on Twitch lately, it's like every ad is just like shoving that game down my throat, and I'm like, it's making me not want to play it. And I'm like,
yeah,
it's oversaturated right now to where like I'm losing excitement for it.
Yeah, they're hitting the marketing hard on that one. I think it looks great. I think the gameplay. We talked about Fallen Order. I feel there's a lot of clunkiness in Fallen Order's combat and exploration. It doesn't appear like they fixed that clunkiness. You can see it in some of the gameplay stuff, which is sad. But it does seem like they changed a lot of other good things too. Like it looks like the zones are much more open, more to explore, more customization. You no longer have just like a coat you can put on Cal. You can get different haircuts and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I just hope it's not so handholdy as some of the other games.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if Fallen Order was. I don't know if Fallen Order was very handholdy.
I just want to go back to like Knights of the Old Republic, like the original.
Yeah.
Like, give me that feel.
Yeah, for sure. You need to play like
Back when
did you ever
Beluga-
play Breath of the Wild?
No.
That's if you want a game that doesn't hold your hand even remotely, like at all. Play that game because it pretty much dumps you into the world and you can immediately go fight the final boss of the game. Immediately. You can literally walk right to the final boss. Or you can go explore the world and you really have no goal. You just explore. There's
See,
no
I don't
handholding.
want to buy that because Beluga Boy has it, but he's very stingy with letting people borrow his games.
Yeah.
Wow,
So
you let him borrow your stream, but he can't let you borrow a
I
game.
know.
right?
So it's kind of one of those like I wait till I'm over at his house and I take one and then I'll play it for a couple weeks and then he'll be like, "Hey, where's this?" And then my daughter will be like, "Oh, Joe took it. What?" And then I give it back.
Love it.
But yeah, that's all I've got for games I'm looking forward to. There's probably a lot more that I haven't thought about, but it's definitely a good year for gamers.
Oh, dude, this
Yeah.
year already is absurd.
Mm.
And especially when you add in Tears of the Kingdom, which is going to be massive. Probably Spider-Man 2, which is going to be massive. It sounds like that's coming out in September. That the actor that's playing one of the major villains, which I won't spoil, came out and said, "Yeah, the game's coming out in September," and they haven't announced it at all. And if he's saying that honestly, bro, that tells me that he got like some sort of news that they're going to be doing a marketing campaign or something that he's going to need to be there for. And he just got on Twitter and was like, "Hey, why don't I just tell everybody?" Like, didn't read the NDA that he almost certainly signed, right?
Nice. Nick, I think we got some Answer the Boys replies this week.
Yeah, we got a handful. Kind of sparse, but obviously there's a dad. He dropped a few in there, but I think he already spoke about those. There's a Mario Party, and Mario Kart. Are those new to the world?
We did get recent ones. I wouldn't say new. They're like a year or good 2, maybe old, but
yeah, that's what Rachel's Holiday.
Shout out Rachel.
Yeah, for the Switch, Mario Party, and Mario Kart. A lot of playtime there in the fam unit. Mario Party Superstars, that's what it was. And then Ben from the Dragoon Effect, Resident Evil 4 Remake,
Mm-hmm.
Tekken 7, Metroid Prime Remastered, and Street Fighter Duel. I feel like those are all like, well, 3 of those are like very, very fighty like games.
Yeah, Tekken 7. I was interested to see, or it was interesting to see that in his list. Ben has a wide variety of gaming choices, but I didn't take him as a fighter. So it was interesting to see 2 on there. Resident Evil 4 remake, man, that's the thing.
Have you
A lot of
played that?
people love that. I have not. No.
Are you going to?
If it goes on a super
If
sale.
it goes on a deep $5 sale, 7
in like
years from
4
now.
years when I get it for like $10.
Wait,
So
how much is
you
it?
can actually download. I don't know if you can on the PS4 or PC, but there's a demo for it, and I played the demo because I was in between that and the game that I have yet to talk about, trying to figure out which one to play, and I played 4, and I think it's really good, man. I can't wait to get to it. I never played the original, so it might be it's not going to be the nostalgia ride for me that it is probably for most people. But it still looks really cool. And I'm sorry, Ben, but Leon is the best playable character in the Resident Evil series. Like, that's
Hands down.
without question.
He is just, I think maybe he was
I hope he was
having
trolling.
a day or something.
Yeah, I
don't
hope he
know.
was trolling because
Maybe we must have just caught Ben at a bad time.
yeah.
But yeah, he was just making some wild accusations in Discord the other day. Can't talk about Leon. Now, if you're talking about Leon being the dumbest character in Welcome to Raccoon City or whatever, that movie, you're 100% correct.
Yeah.
They did not do our boy any favors in that movie. And of course, Chef Yak apparently has played 29 games or is in progress with 29 games, which should surprise
Shocker.
nobody.
Yeah.
Thanks, Nick, for reading Answer the Boys, man. It's been a while since we've done that. So thanks for answering the boys, guys. All right, Chad, tell us about this last game here.
Yes. So the last game that I want to talk about, which is the one I'm currently playing through right now, is the Dead Space remake.
Dead Space.
And much like Resident Evil 4, I did not play the original Dead Space, any of them. And I kind of missed this when it came out. I can't remember. I think it launched around something else that I really wanted to play. And instead of getting Resident Evil 4, which I was really excited for, I was like, I should probably play Dead Space. And I put a post, I posted in Discord for like opinions, and almost, I think everyone said Dead Space, or everybody that I asked at least said Dead Space. And man, this game, I don't know. I have no context to the original one, but this game horrifies me, bro. It's just something about it. I think it's probably a lot to do with the remake because the lighting and just everything is much more vivid than it probably
100%.
was in the original.
Yep.
And I have a very, very deep fear of like being trapped on an abandoned ship in space. Like, it's never going to happen. It's not a fear that I'm ever going to encounter in my life.
But still,
You still wake up at
You
night.
never know.
You're
Still
like,
wake up
oh,
at
I'm glad
night.
that's not real.
Never know.
you're like, oh,
You never know.
I'm not in space. Okay, good.
And there's two. So there's that, and then I have a very deep fear of being in the woods at night. That could happen at some point. And those come from Alien and Blair Witch Project, in case you were wondering, when I was a kid. And this game, dude, it has got major Alien vibes, and I think that's why I love it so much. But dude, it's just there are there's multiple times playing through this game where I literally had to turn it off. I was like, this is too fucking scary. Like, I can't do it. I can't do it anymore. I have to take a break. I'm sure Dad could probably comment on the differences from the original if he played the original.
Mm-hmm.
But from what I've played of this, which is I think I'm like chapter 8 out of 12, so I'm working my way towards the end of the game. It's just, dude, it's so fun. It's so fun, and I've never seen a combat system that relies so much on dismembering parts of the things that you're killing, and they just keep trucking along as you're dismembering them, which is so cool, dude. And all the weapons are really built around dismembering them. You know what I mean? I just got a couple chapters ago, I got the line gun, which shoots like a line of lasers, which is like the freaking coolest gun in the game because you can immediately take out their legs and then they crawl. But yeah, dude, there's just a lot of stuff in this game that has just kept me up at night. And I think it's a lot to do with the music is freaking on point in this game. The sound is incredible. The way that everything elevates when there's an enemy nearby, it's similar to Control, where everything, got heightened as far as the music and everything. But the ship itself is just cool. I mean, it's creepy, it's dark, yeah, dude, I'm loving it. Yeah, I'm loving it. And I'm so sad that I missed these. And this was always, I've talked on the podcast before, there were like 3 big series that I missed, and that was Mass Effect, which I corrected last year, Dead Space, and BioShock. I never played any of those games. So I'm glad that I'm finally getting to this. I wish it would have released with remakes of all of them like they did with Mass Effect, so I could go through them. I'm probably definitely going to play 2 when I'm done with this on the Steam Deck. But they're also talking about remaking that one, so it's like, should I wait? Should I play it now?
I think they will. With all the popularity and like rave reviews that the remake for 1's gotten, I have a feeling that we're probably going to see 2 and 3.
Yeah,
probably sooner than later.
I think you're 100% right on that, because this game is very, very popular. And it's funny because the people that made the original Dead Space went on to do Callisto Protocol, if you remember, and that released relatively close to this to this remake, which is sad because it kind of got slaughtered in reviews and it doesn't look very good.
Right.
But indie studio building their first game, it's sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But Mike, Dad, talk to me about Dead Space.
Go ahead, Dad, because you've played both versions. I've only played the original.
First of all, I'm glad you love it.
Yeah.
I'm glad it's lived up to the hype. And I just like what you said, with everything they did with the lighting, the music, just everything. And it's like the original was amazing. And at the time, it was like going up against Resident Evil, and it kind of felt like a Resident Evil ripoff.
Yeah.
But it's not. Like, it's its own thing. It's its totally terrifying thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I need to get back into it. I kind of took a little break from it. But yeah, seriously, one of my favorite games of all time.
Yeah, I like I said, I'm a big fan of space horror, even though it's like one of my biggest fears. And I think that this just is nailing every single one of those. There's also really, really cool zero gravity moments in this game. I don't know if they were in the original or not.
Yeah.
But dude, just the way the sound works in the zero gravity, or if you ever go outside of the ship at any point, it's so good in the remake, dude. It's so good.
Yeah.
I having only played the original many years ago, the lighting and sound design in that game was phenomenal. So I can only imagine how they've improved on that with modern technology and stuff. Yeah, I honestly think it's the sound design for me that made that game so intense. Like, it's scary,
so stressful.
It's just super intense and stressful.
Yes, it really
because
is.
they just they do an amazing job of preparing you with noises and stuff, and they don't always pay those off.
Right.
So you're just like, whoa, what was that?
Yeah.
Something's definitely going to be coming, and then you're just like, for 5 minutes, like,
Never
you're
comes.
super
Yeah.
tense, like walking around and nothing comes, and then you like finally relax, and then you hear it again. You're like, oh, you got me once, you're not going to get me again. And then the necromorph comes. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, crap. And so like just the environment sounds, like the ship clanking
Creaking,
around.
yeah,
and,
dude. Yep.
But one of my favorite things, which isn't really a tension builder or a horror thing, it's just I love the way that Isaac sounds when he makes noises, like the metallic, like reverby sound in his helmet, and like you're saying the like when you're outside of the ship or in a part of the ship that's like blown open, and you have like they turn the oxygen off or whatever, and it's just like in the vacuum.
Yeah.
Sounds super cool.
Dude, it's so cool. Yeah.
And I love how like all the weapons are just like engineering tools on the ship because
Right.
like
Yeah.
they're like planet cutters.
Yep.
So they're just like tools that he would use as the ship's engineer to either like make repairs on the ship or like for the planet cutting stuff. So yeah, it's super cool. And the HUD, at
Dude,
least in the
that's-
original,
yeah.
it was
Yeah.
to me very innovative because it doesn't exist. It's everything that you need to see is like a part of your character. Your health bar is the meter on your spine. You see your ammo when you're aiming down the sights. The little screen pops up. Even how they use the like map or like the navigation in game to show you like where to go. It's like he puts something on the floor and it makes a little path or whatever. Super cool. Super
Yeah,
cool.
I think it's definitely cool that it came, because this game, I think the original came out like 07, 08. So it's cool to see a game that doesn't have a HUD, because it probably was not very common back then. Because every game had a HUD.
Right.
But the coolest parts to me are I love stomping on the necromorphs afterwards, just crunchy and nasty. But I don't know if it's a glitch necessarily or it's meant to do it physics wise, but sometimes like if I'm going back through a hallway where I've killed a bunch of stuff, I'll like kick one of their legs up and it like comes up behind me and scares the piss out of me, but it's already dead. It's just its limb flopping up.
The floating stuff is
And the other thing that I thought was really, really effective, and they've done it a couple times throughout the game, they have like these circuit breakers that you have to pick one or the other. So you can either pick like have gravity on or have lights.
The lights.
And if you ever turn the lights off, bro, it's
terrible.
literally
it's so bad.
terrible. It is the most horrifying thing I've ever played in a game, because
I need Joe to stream this.
Yeah,
No, sir.
it's pitch black and you can only see really where you're aiming with your flashlight.
Yeah.
So dude, it's just so immersive as far as, and I think the story is really, really cool as well.
Yeah, the story is really rad.
Really
it's
cool.
Like it's not super innovative story wise. Like the main premise is like pretty maybe cliche is not the word, but it's like a standard trope, right?
Yeah.
But the way it's executed, I think, is done really well and really engaging. And the second one does just as well of a job telling that story. That's still connected, obviously, but so Nick, someone who also has not played Dead Space but tinkered around a little bit with the original, do you find yourself potentially dabbling with the remake, or
Not for $70.
you're gonna pull a mic so in
we've
3
had
years when you can get it on sale like half off?
Yeah,
or
like
more.
$20.
Yeah.
I just need to start buying physical games again, so when I'm done, you guys can just borrow them.
Yeah, exactly.
The other thing, and this kind of goes to the sound I want to talk about a little bit. His heartbeat elevates when there's necromorphs, and you can hear it, which makes it like your heart rate elevate as well, because you're like, well, he's freaking out, so I should certainly be freaking out.
Yeah.
There's just a lot good.
How much did you put into the first one, Nick, before you put it down? Because you started it, it was like right around the time that the announcement of the remake came out, so you kind of shelved it. But like, I don't recall your experience with it, but like, do you recall your little experience with it?
Yeah, so it was like borderline didn't age well. Like I was playing on PC. One, I'm terrible at first person games on the PC to begin with, but like there were things that just I don't know if there was just buggy or just like things that weren't working correctly. So like there was some friction there in terms of my experience, but I mean graphically and like obviously the way the game's presented and sounds, that aged well, but there was like some things mechanically with controls. I think a lot of it was controls, and then just maybe just smooth experience in game with certain like mostly like not that there's puzzles, but like more of the like puzzly type mechanics. I was having some issues with, so I think I got stuck at some point. there was like a door that wouldn't unstuck. Like I feel like the button that I was supposed to press like literally did not work in game. So I just had no idea what was going on. So that's where I left off.
Yeah, I could see that. This was definitely a like Dad was saying, a Resident Evil style survival horror game. So even it was very tanky in the shooting mechanics. Like I don't think you were literally immobile when aiming down the sights, but you moved very, very slowly. I don't know if that carried over into the remake, but
No.
yeah, you were, or maybe I'm misremembering, but I feel like you were very, very moving very slowly when you were shooting in the original. So maybe that might play a little bit into what you're talking about too, just a little bit, Nick. Maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe back then that was an effective way to do survival horror, because Resident Evil 4 does that where you can't move when you're shooting. But it doesn't age well, that kind of gameplay now, because nothing is like that now. And you move pretty quick in the remake when you're aiming. So yeah, I don't know, man. It might be a platinum for me. I'll have to see. The trophy list is kind of rough because you have to beat it on impossible mode. Which is hard mode, where you only have one save slot, and if you die, you start back over at the beginning. So that once I saw that, I was like, meh, that's rough. But I did find it like an ammo glitch where you can basically get infinite money and ammo, so that could come in useful in that impossible run. But I'm not a big fan of the die and go back to the beginning style of, especially when I'm trying to knock out a final trophy for a platinum. Like that sounds miserable.
Yeah, that would be very rough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you got into it. I think your pull between the two shouldn't discourage you from doing Resident Evil 4.
Oh, it's not.
So I think that's going to be equally as great of a game. But I think for somebody who hasn't played either, like originals, Dead Space is a must over Resident Evil. Because if you played like 1 through 3 Resident Evil, like 4 is not incredibly different, but Dead Space is an experience that you need to have if you're a fan of survival horror.
I agree. I agree with you. And any sort of space horror. And if you're a fan of the Alien movies, you should certainly jump on Dead Space. But it's definitely not going to discourage me. That's probably going to be the next game I play, Resident Evil 4.
Nice.
We're getting close to Jedi Survivor. It's just a bad time probably for me to pick up a game that released in January to play. But glad I did, dude, because this is slowly creeping up probably my top 5 list right now.
Yeah, me and Dad, you can't see Dad because he's so tiny, but we did the exact same thing at the same time.
Don't play the scary games.
Yes,
scary games.
But two's worth it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
The story. I mean, the gameplay of 2 is really good too, but the story is really cool.
Well, you think it holds up today though?
I don't know. It's been so long since I've played them. I haven't revisited them in a while. I'm gonna check my Steam library right now, see if I have any of these.
I would say
they're all 3 on Game Pass.
Are they? Nice.
Don't get me started on Game Pass. Let me be fair real quick, because I did just have a pretty lame experience with Game Pass. With that being said, I still would recommend anyone who games on PC as their primary gaming console to sign up for Game Pass, because it's an incredibly amazing deal for the price and what you get. But without spending a half hour going into this, Game Pass one day stopped working. I was like, okay, I'll uninstall, reinstall. Uninstalled it, downloaded it from Xbox's website, and ran the installer. The installer gets like 25% complete and then just shuts down.
Yeah, sounds like a Microsoft product, don't it?
Spent 2 hours on the phone with support, got disconnected like 3 or 4 times.
Oh, wow.
Nobody is like, they're just like, oh, that's weird. And I'm like, yeah, it is weird.
Yeah. Could I
"Can
get some
why
help?
does your stuff not work?" And they're like, "Yeah, honestly, I don't know. I'm gonna send you over here." And I would go over there, and they're like, "Oh, that's weird. You should probably
So
talk to
annoying.
this person." I'm like, "I literally just talked to that person.
Yeah.
They sent me to you." And they're like, "Okay, well, bye."
Oh my
So,
gosh, dude.
and
So
long story
Microsoft.
short, I got it. I canceled it and got my monthly fee refunded. But still, Game Pass is a great deal. You should try it out. I just
Yeah.
had a bad experience
Yeah,
recently.
you know, I quickly snapped out of my desire to buy an Xbox the other day. It may still happen, but I was like, you know what? Let me look at their games on Metacritic. Top Xbox Series games, X whatever it's called, Series X,
Fortnite.
whatever the hell it's called. Dude, there's no exclusives like in the top 25
They gave
Mhm.
up.
besides like Forza. I'm like, this can't be right. So I went and looked up the best Xbox Series X exclusives. And it's literally Forza, Halo Infinite, and then a bunch of games that came out last gen. So I'm like, what
Yep.
the fuck? What the hell is going on over there?
PlayStation has all the best exclusives.
Dude,
man.
it's like
Not even close.
insane. It's insane.
But yeah, if you want to pay $10 a month though and get 100+ games each month to play, I would do Game Pass. But yeah, if you're going for quality exclusives, it's not a contest. Hasn't been for like a decade.
Right.
But yeah, so glad you got into that. I am currently playing. I got 3 games, but we don't need to spend time on them because one I just started yesterday. One is almost done, and the other one I've been playing for several months and just chipping away at over time. One game I was playing on Game Pass, though, sadly, was Chained Echoes, and that was a super fun game. Kind of throwback to old school sprite-styled JRPG, taking away all the pain points. It was super fun. Has a slapping soundtrack. But I, no longer have Game Pass, so I'm not playing that anymore. I'm still streaming through Pokemon Ultra Moon. I just haven't been streaming lately because there's other things to do in life in my current time right now. So streaming has kind of been on the back burner. I'm playing a fan game, Pokemon Stone Dragon 1 on my phone in my downtime. I'm about to take on the Elite Four there. I started this because I had heard that it was good. The story like doesn't really exist. So I played through it and I was like waiting for something to happen, and then I got to the Elite Four and I'm like, oh, I guess nothing happens. And now I'm at the Elite Four, so I just need to finish it. So that was kind of a disappointment. I like my team in that game because I'm taking on this whole new mindset of playing with Pokemon that I've never played with before, and there's like almost 1,000, so I could pretty much do this in like 1 million Pokemon games.
Right. Yeah.
And I've added a few new team members in this game that were super fun. I'm playing with Kakarot, which I've never used in my life.
Camera.
And Electivire, I've never used. I caught an Elekid like on the first route and have raised it up to an Electivire, and it's been super cool. And then I just started on the Switch Tales of Iron, which I believe is free on PlayStation Plus this month. It's a side-scrolling action RPG, very cool art style.
Oh, it's kind of like, what's that game you played that's got a similar art style?
Kind of Darkest Dungeon.
Darkest
style.
Dungeon, yeah.
I don't know how to describe that. It's kind of like cell shaded, but kind of like hand drawn, kind of comic booky. It's
an odd
really
style
hard
to describe. Yeah.
But it looks really cool, and the story is super interesting. It's like you're in this world where there's like a rat kingdom, and a frog kingdom, and they're like warring against each other. And you play as this rat prince who's about to receive the throne from his father, and the frogs attack and kill the king and like just decimate your town. I'm only like an hour and a half in or so. It's super cool, like super interesting. So I'm just like this rat running around with a spear and a shield. But the combat's really cool. It visually is beautiful, and the story is very interesting so far. And I don't typically play this style of game, so it's fun. You're running around, you're looting weapons and armor and stuff, and so far the combat's been pretty cool. I'm interested to see if there will be like unique abilities with different weapons, or how deep the RPG side of it goes.
No, like
but I'm
you
enjoying
start the
it so
game
far.
as a mouse.
You're a rat, sir.
Sorry, a rat.
Yeah, you're a rat prince.
Huh.
Yeah, it's very cool. You should look up the trailer. It
looks
super
pretty
interesting.
cool. Yeah.
If
It
you have
looks really
PlayStation Plus, I really do think it's available right now. So
cool. I might
worth
get in there
picking
and
it
add
up.
it. Yeah.
But this is a game that I purchased like a year ago, and then it's just like sat on my Switch because hey, it's one of those things where I found it for like 50% off, and I was like, hey, that's like right in my sweet spot of like $10. So I'll buy it, and then it just got distracted by other things. But yeah, it's been fun. So I'll keep you guys updated. I also started a randomized ROM playthrough of Pokemon Black with my friend Jared from Play Along Podcast. So that'll be fun. I'm sure you guys will be hearing about that later. Never played Pokemon Black, so I'm interested to play through that generation. I heard a lot of people seem to like Unova and the story, interestingly enough, which you don't really hear much talk about stories in Pokemon games. People enjoying those, so
Yeah.
interested to see what happens there. But that wraps it up for me. Dad, do you have anything left? I know you said you were going to talk about Dead Space, but was there anything else?
That was it.
All right.
Dead Space 2 is $20 right now on Steam.
$20.
Oh yeah, I might have to snag that up because it's not verified. It's playable on the Steam Deck, not verified, but every video that I watch seems like it runs perfectly fine. So
And you've seen like a trailer at least for Dead Space 2?
I have not, because I'm not trying to, not until I finish. That's the thing I was saying earlier. There's a couple animated movies I want to watch. But I don't want to watch them yet because the one I think is a prequel about everything that happened on the Ishimura before you get there. But the second one, I'm not sure. And then there's a documentary about the people that made the game, talking about how they made the game. But I don't want to get there because the title is like how the scariest scene in Dead Space almost broke the game or something like that. It's like an hour long.
That's awesome.
And I'm like, well, I don't know if I've gotten to the scariest moment. They've all been pretty freaking scary. So
It's playable.
Playable, yeah.
Awesome.
All right. Well, hey, just a reminder, you guys should go follow UglyKidJoeCross on Twitch. There's a link to his channel in the episode description below. There's a link to his channel on our website on the gaming tab. Actually,
I'm everywhere.
When he goes live, you can actually see that from our website, and then you can click on it, and it takes you right to his channel. It's so super cool. Go follow. He's a great streamer. Streaming in the mornings.
Except for tomorrow night. I have Beluga Boy tomorrow night.
Oh man. Hey, can we get a quick Beluga Boy bread update?
So Beluga Boy does not like the toasted wheat bread from Cheesecake Factory. He likes it just straight out of the package. And he tried loafed brioche and absolutely loved it.
Nice.
Good. And he
And-
has had a baguette, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And then he said when we go to the Outer Banks in a couple months, he's going to try shrimp
What?
Oh, let's
because
go.
he wanted to try some shrimp I had the other day, and he says he wants to wait so he can try it from the ocean.
That
Tell me
is a
to put
wise
that on a
That's a
decision.
hoagie
good
roll.
strategy. It's a good
Yeah.
strategy.
So
do you say,
I'm pretty
Nick?
excited about that.
That's awesome.
What'd you
Yeah,
say, Nick?
there?
Oh, I said he needs to put that on a hoagie roll.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So he can do shrimp and a
Dude.
bread.
Yeah.
2 birds, 1 stone. I like the way you're thinking, bro. Yeah, make sure you keep us posted with some Beluga Boy bread updates. It's very important. Anything else you guys think we need to get out of the way before we wrap up tonight?
There you go.
No, we're good.
There's your answer.
Perfect. Well, next week Nick is going to be out of town, so he will not be joining us. But Chad and I, and probably Dad, I believe we're going to be talking about The Last of Us Season 1. It's only been over for a month, but we're finally going to be able to react to it and talk about it, which should be cool. Looking forward to that. Make sure you subscribe here so we can give away this Nintendo Switch. And thank you guys for tuning in. We will see you next week. Goodbye.
Later.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Ready, I got the sword.
You needed to lead with "There could only be one."
Yeah.
No, it's a replica.